Good afternoon. I'm just going to demonstrate this idea of the auto hotkey program that I wrote with the spot on the mouse program that you wrote, and demonstrate this idea of how they are good friends and work together. First of all, I'm going to show you, this is actually Adobe Reader I've got in front of me. Like, this is a normal full screen view of Adobe Reader. What you can, obviously with your program that you told me, you can Control Shift A. I found this very useful before. I can go up to a position on the screen and go over certain sentences that I might be having some difficulty trying to understand. So that's one thing. Then, of course, you can do that, but then it gets a little bit, after a while, it gets a little bit boring doing that as well, because then you've got to scroll around, etc. It's good, it's better than not having anything, but it's just kind of a bit dry, isn't it? So I forgot about that. After a while I just kind of left that and stopped using the spot on the mouse program and just went on to doing other things, stopped reading as well, which wasn't very good, which is obviously not a good idea at all. You need to continuously improve your knowledge and learn things. This is actually about an old computer, so it's quite weird. So then I went and wrote, let's stop this your program for a minute. Then I went and wrote this program that basically let me draw this kind of scanning across the downwards across the page kind of thing that allowed me to, it started like just, it basically started an idea to try and let me understand the reading of it a bit more fluidly. So I could understand how the understanding and my perception of the reading was going as opposed to the time passing by, and understand some ideas that were perhaps influencing my learning ability or not learning ability, as the case may be, and allow me to try and nail it down a bit. But then this got a bit boring after a while, just watching a little line go down the screen, which is basically what it is. It just shows a little line. It worked for a while, it worked for certain things, but then it kind of gets a bit monotonous, because after a while you still may not understand what you're trying to understand, but you're not actually sure why it is you don't understand it. What is it nailing it down? And that's where your thing comes in very handy, because you can then actually put the protractor style horizontal ruler exactly on the sentence that you're having a problem with trying to understand. But in this case, for example, it tells you about the control break will cause the current language to be copied across to blah blah blah. This idea that is through with the BBC Micro basically, and there's certain things in it that are taken for granted that everybody understands. Like, for example, the idea that the control break does something that's important. You have to understand what the influence is of this action that impacts on the rest of the system. And because it's such an important idea, it has to be really kind of got right at the start. And it's one of those things that if you don't understand right at the start, and you don't understand it very, very kind of deeply, what it is that it means deeply, then anything else that you read will kind of not really click into place. But because the people understood the BBC Micro, they were at school, and they just used it all throughout their teenage years, they kind of more or less assumed a lot of it was just in surprise. They didn't even think about it. But I think, as an outsider, a naive outsider, it's one of those things that you have to understand. These people know about. That you have to actually understand this in order to fit into place what it is they're talking about as well. Like, for example, this control break. So this is where your thing comes in really handy, because then I can see, hang on a minute, I'm flowing here, but then I'm having a problem with this sentence. So it's obviously something that I'm not getting here. So this is a very, very powerful tool for actually letting you understand. I'm having a problem understanding this. I've got a problem. I need to kind of delve into this, what this actually means, and try to define it in my own terms, come to terms with it in my own words, before, I can, because that, if you're reading a technical document, there's no point you reading something, you get it, and then something comes across and it's muddled you up, and then you carry on reading it. That's useless. It's just going to get you in trouble. You need to, with technical things, you need to build, you need to progressively build on things that you do know about, that then allow you to develop more safe conclusions later, and that allow you to build safely and develop and progress. And if you find things that are problematic, you need to kind of immediately zoom in on them and try and make them more clearer. And that is why your thing is really, really useful, but even more so with this, because it kind of gives you like that tells you the time as well. So you can see that it's 2016 March 30th. It's very useful. It shows you actually how much, but if I just had that by itself, it wouldn't be very interesting. It would just, it's just going across, putting a line across it. So again, by itself, it's not particularly interesting, but when you combine it, so if you just go like that, that's not very interesting either, but when you put them together, it kind of just makes it a new thing. The other good thing, the original thing I did this particular application for was to allow you to use the joystick to just move the page up and down, which I thought that was going to kind of help the reading, which it does to some extent. All it does is just, you can do this with a keyboard anyway and do it in Adobe Reader, but it doesn't quite get there as far as getting the actual meaning across is concerned. It's good for getting around. It's very smooth. It's even better than a trackpad on an Apple MacBook Pro or something like that, or an Apple iPad, or even a Samsung tablet, or a phone. It's even nicer than that, because it's actually more or less letting you really control exactly what you're reading. But again, by itself, it's not really enough. But all these things help you. That helps you as well. It helps you. And even I can do this. I can kind of let book zoom. I can make it different colours, and I can zoom in certain parts, make that larger, make that bigger, from different colours to suit, and even makes flashing effects if I get the colours and so on. It's all nice. It doesn't really quite get the meaning across, but when you combine these things together, it really, really does help you get. But I have a problem with this sentence, so I just thought it's good the way they're kind of best friends. I just thought the way they sort of come together. I don't like orange. I think orange is nicer anyway. You can change the colour with all the buttons. And it's good the way these programs just seem like best friends, like they're meant to be together, and they help you to do this job. And I just wanted to show you that. I thought it's quite clever. Thank you anyway. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.